My name is Spence Taylor. I'm the Senior Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Diversity and also President of the GHS Clinical University. And it's my pleasure to welcome everyone to the 2018 White Coat Ceremony for the University of South Carolina School of Medicine. It's also my duty to inform you that this is a reverent occasion and that we would ask everyone to put their cell phones on silent. That would include everybody on the podium as well, so that we can proceed. And without further ado, since this is a reverent ceremony, I'd like to welcome Reverend Dr. John B. Hartman to the podium for an invocation.
Let us pray. Gracious God, you've created us with minds, bodies, and spirits so that we may achieve many great things. Working harmoniously together, our bodies provide the context for great thoughts of our minds, and our spirits lead us to acts of faith, compassion, moral inspiration, and wisdom. The mystery of the complexity of the human person amazes us. And yet, the new physicians gathered here this afternoon courageously enter into this complex mystery of the human body and spirit, armed with many tools to heal. Bless them with growth in knowledge, skill, and compassion, so that they will forever become better healers. When they are fatigued and discouraged, refresh their bodies and renew their spirits. When they are going it alone, seemingly without anyone to support them or share their journey, remind them that they are never alone and guide them back to community. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, John, very much. It's a real honor and privilege to be on this podium, and it's a real honor and privilege to share this podium with some really important people. I'd like to acknowledge the people on the podium for you for this time. You just heard from John Hartman, who's our chaplain at the Greenville Health System and does an outstanding job. You'll get a formal introduction of our guest keynote speaker, John Prescott, Dr. Prescott from the AAMC, from Dr. Yuki in a bit. Right directly behind me is the founding dean, Dr. Jerry Yuki, who should be a familiar figure to everyone. Dr. Paul Catalano, who's our assistant dean of admissions, the most important position at the medical school, right, Paul? We'll introduce Andrew in just a bit. Andrew Burr is the class president for the class of 2018. In the back, there's an empty chair. That was to be occupied by Dr. Lynn Crespo, our associate dean for education. She unfortunately had a family emergency. Everything's fine, but she was unable to attend and sends her regrets on this occasion. Dr. Bob Bess is our Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs. Dr. Jim Buggy is our Associate Dean for Student Affairs. Mr. Mike Reardon, who's the Chief Executive Officer and President of the Greenville Health System. Brenda Timms, who's the Vice President for Academic and Faculty Affairs and functions as my Provost for the Clinical University. And then Mr. Derek Payne, who's the Executive Director of Business and Finance, and also is a very important individual, is the man with the purse strings. Also like to acknowledge in the audience, I think I saw Mr. Billy Webster from afar, who's the chairman of the GHS Board of Trustees and member of the Joint Board Liaison Committee. If there are other Joint Board Liaison Trustees, welcome and acknowledge the great work they do for us. As we get going forward, this is a great occasion and a real privilege for me for the third year in a row to be presiding and moderating over this austere ceremony. And then to the students of 2018, just a couple of comments to take moderator's prerogative to be able to just say two things. This is a real celebration, and it's a real challenge to you guys. And the celebration, the White Coat Ceremony to me is a relatively new ceremony. At least I consider anything that I didn't do as a medical student relatively new. So just so you'll know. And it is a challenge, and it is a note of congratulations. Congratulations in that it's an opportunity for you to take a deep breath and glory in the fact that you've been chosen to be a member of this incredible class. The achievement that you've just accomplished by being admitted shouldn't be overlooked. I think there was 2,700 applications and we picked 82 of you guys. So if you do the odds, that's about 1 out of 34, right? So if you were in Vegas to do those odds, that would be something you'd probably avoid or think that those are unfavorable odds. But the fact is, indeed, you did it. So congratulations. I think this is a real occasion to celebrate and take a deep breath of and bask in the glory. But it's also a challenge because at the end of this day, the challenge, once you put on a white coat, you'll realize that unfortunately or fortunately, it's no longer about you. I mean, this is from henceforth, from the day you were born to this point in time, this was really about you and about your accomplishments, and we're here to support and make you successful. But the minute you don that white coat, things are different. It's about our patients, and it's about our community. And you're a servant leader. This is no longer about you, but you about serving your community from henceforth forward, or it should be that way. So it's a terrific challenge for you, and a challenge that I think that you guys selected out of this illustrious group of 2,700 applications are something that you can do. We're confident you can do, and it's up to us as faculty and staff to get you to that point and to prepare you so that you can be a great servant leader and serve the community and the public in which you were born and destined to serve. And we're really excited about that. It's also exciting to be in this auditorium. Furman University is a great partner. As you know, we have 3 primary partners: Furman University, Clemson University, and of course the University of South Carolina, of which we are part of their tradition in college from Columbia. And it's a real honor to be a University of South Carolina college and a Furman University facility. It's a fun thing and a very clinical university thing. So welcome, congratulations, and you ought to be very pleased and proud. It's now my honor to bring forward Andrew Burr, who's your president, and ask him to take the podium. Andrew.
I want to again personally thank everybody here on behalf of the class of 2018 for coming. You are our honored guests, so thank you so much for being here today. I'm not going to lie, when I found out that I was speaking at the white coat ceremony, I had to do some research on that, because it's my first one. But I was consulting, I wanted to look up and see what was it all about and what, kind of the history behind it. So I consulted the great intellectual resource that Dr. Williams, our anatomy professor, says is a critical part of our medical education, Wikipedia. There on Wikipedia I found a cool quote, actually several different things. It's a relatively newer tradition. It started back in 1989, so it's relatively new. And it's still spreading, gaining popularity. I think the first school in Germany had their, medical school had their white coat ceremony last year. So it's growing in popularity. But one thing I found significant about it was one of the quotes that I found and I read. It said, according to some, it said, white coat ceremonies have taken on a quasi-religious significance that symbolizes a conversion of a lay person into a member of the healthcare profession. I thought that interesting at first when I read it, but then I realized that there is some significance, there is kind of a similarity to joining a church and to joining medical school. Both do require that they're going to change your beliefs. Both do that. Both also are going to be a commitment on your part, and also both seem to want my money, so. It is a really privilege for you guys to be here today, to us. I know there's 3 different main groups here that represent. First of all, we have the faculty and administration that are here. Second of all, we also have the friends, families, guests, teachers who also came and visited today. And then lastly, we have the class of 2018. So I'd really like to take some time and really address all groups here. First, I want to talk to the faculty and the administration of the school. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for believing in us. Dr. Taylor just read out some statistics there, and really that goes to show that you guys believe in us. Because you see, the people out here that I'm going to get to, they believe in us. It's their job. They have to. They're our parents, stuff like that. But you guys, you didn't know us. And we came in and we interviewed and we talked to you, and you guys believed in us. You say, hey, maybe this nerd, he has a chance. Wow, we can do that. But you guys believed in us, and really, I can honestly say from my class there, we have believed that from the moment we've gotten there. You guys have been our biggest fans from the moment we stepped on campus. And I want to say thank you for that. Second of all, I also want to give you guys a challenge, and that is that you're not going to let us go forth from this school until we're prepared. And I know that's the goal. That might mean you never get rid of some of us, but hey. We do want to say that prepare us for the future. We do know there's challenges ahead, and prepare us for that. And also, I want to say something is don't stop encouraging. We felt it from the moment we've gotten here to the school. We've sensed the compassion, we've sensed the encouragement. Don't stop with that. You are training us to be compassionate physicians. Don't stop being compassionate. Don't stop being encouragement. Don't stop being our biggest fans. Because we know that if you invest in us, you're going to be sitting there and being just as proud as the parents at the end of 4 years when we become doctors, and you guys are there alongside us knowing that you had something to do with that. So I'm telling you there, continue to be encouragement. Continue to have that compassion. It's ironic that I'm asking compassion 4 days before a test that we have as well. So. I do also want to talk to the family, the friends, the teachers here. We have fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, some even probably have children here, coming out to watch us. And if I am any representation at all of my class, I want to say thank you. Because I can honestly say, we would not be here if it weren't for your support. You guys have been there every step of the way. You've been there through struggling through whether it's 5th grade long division, or whether it's algebra, or whether it's going to school, or whether it be a scraped knee. You guys have been there for us, and we want to thank you. I also have things that I want to ask you. First of all, remind us who we are and help us not to forget that. I've talked to my class, and we have a lot of talent in the class. We have musicians, and we have sports athletes, and we have actors, and we have comedians, and we have a little bit of everything in our class. Don't let us forget that, of who we are, because we're going on a journey right now, and we're going to be studying, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to be learning great things, but don't let us forget who we are. Also, let us forget to be humble. Remember where we started, how hard we've worked, because when we go down, we might think we know stuff down the way. Don't let us forget where we started from. And then lastly, I want to tell to you guys is to be proud. We've invited you here today for a reason, and we want you to be proud for it, because we recognize that we're not here were it not for your investment. You invested so much into us, and we want this day that you can look and say, wow, it actually did something. So thank you again for what you do today, and don't forget to remind us of those things. Then last, I want to speak to the class of 2018. Hi, guys. We are actually now, I think today marks the 2nd month that we've been to medical school. So doing the math, that's about 5% of being an MD. So congratulations. We're practically doctors. We got that. I hope you spent some time today thinking about your journey here, how you guys got here. I was thinking about that today. All the different things that you've gone through. Some of us, we've decided that we wanted to be doctors since we were in high school, and we made that decision. Some of us in the middle of undergrad. Some of us, we waited until after undergrad, and we decided, hey, I want to go into medical school. But it's been a process. It's been a journey for each of us. Thinking back to me, and probably you have similar circumstances, I remember that first science class I took, Gen Bio 1 in undergrad. I remember thinking it was hard, very hard. And you know, I remember taking it and studying for it. It was hard. And I remember actually one specific day after I thought it was so hard, someone from the sophomore class came to me and said, oh, you think that's hard? Wait till Essentials of Cell Biology. That's even harder. So I went there. I finally passed Gen Bio 1. I went to Essentials, and then the people at Essentials said, oh, don't wait for organic chemistry. That's coming. And it seemed to see, okay, I have to wait for organic chemistry, then I had to wait for microbiology, then I had to wait for genetics, and finally we're here. Then you have to wait for the MCAT. Our whole lives, our whole career so far has been waiting for that next step because it's going to get worse. Finally, I remember getting to medical school when we got here. I remember first day of classes, it's hard. You get a lot of information at you. I remember some well-meaning M2s said, you think that's hard? I'm like, oh no, it's here again. Wait till your M2 year. And we have M3s telling M2s, wait till their M3 year. And we have M4s. Well, we don't have M4s yet, but if they were there, they would say that it was going to be harder. And I think that's ironic. There's definitely some truth to that. There's definitely some preparation to being prepared with our goals that we have and getting a realistic picture. But it's ironic as well that for being where we are, I mean, we've seen how frail human life is, the brevity of it. We're studying EMT class, and we've been in emergency room departments, and some of us have been present when people have died. And of all people, we know that you're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're not. So this just wait that we're doing, if I can just wait to this, if I can just wait, maybe it'll get easier, or just wait. My challenge to you guys is to not just wait. We're being trained right now to make a difference in our communities, and that's great. But let's make a difference in our communities today. We're getting trained right now to be competent physicians, but let's be competent today. You might say, oh, that's easy, Andrew, at a white coat ceremony. What do we do tomorrow when everyone's gone and I put the white coat in the closet and, I'm back up to my neck stuck in the brachial plexus? That's a joke. The brachial plexus does go up to your neck, so I'm a nerd. But what do we do with that? And my thing is that I'm saying is that is no less important. We want to be compassionate physicians. Let's be compassionate to each other tomorrow. Let's be compassionate to our patients that we do encounter, or the ones that we go and visit in the hospital. Guys, let's make a difference tomorrow and today, and make it a day by day by day process. Because yes, it might get harder, and it will get harder, and it's going to be a journey. But let's not realize that we don't have to just wait. We can do it right now. We can make that difference right now. And you know what, guys? And guests here, I guarantee you, if we do that, passionately invest, being compassionate, competent every day, enjoying what we get to study, the awesome privilege that it is, day by day by day, I guarantee you, the class of 2018 will change the world. Just wait. So I want to say thank you, everyone, for coming here today, and now it's my privilege to introduce our dean, Dr. Yuki.
So I'm here to introduce our keynote speaker, but I have to share something with you before I do that. Dr. Catalan and I were sort of comparing notes, and I told him how I was struck by something that I've learned to love about this school. I don't know if other medical schools are like this. I presume that many of them are, but this school in particular, and Andrew not only spoke to it, he epitomizes it. And that's the diverse backgrounds that all these students come from, and then come together to make a class in each of the classes so far that takes care of one another. And so what I was struck by is you just heard a presidential address from the elected president of the class of 2018, who was born in Wisconsin, grew up in Pittsburgh, graduated from Bob Jones, is attending the USC School of Medicine in Greenville, located at the Greenville Health System, in the Furman University Auditorium. You gotta love it. So it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. John Prescott, MD, is the Association of American Medical Colleges Chief Academic Officer. John oversees AAMC efforts to prepare and assist deans, faculty leaders, and future physicians for the challenges of 21st century academic medicine. He leads a staff that addresses critical medical school data, administrative and operational issues. He explores new models of successful mission alignment, focuses on key faculty issues and leadership development, and supports medical school accreditation activities. Dr. Prescott also leads activities supporting the Council of Deans, the Organization of Student Representatives, the Group on Student Affairs, the Group on Faculty Affairs, the Group on Women in Medicine and Science, the Group on Business Affairs, the Group on Institutional Planning, and the Liaison Council on Medical Education. Dr. Prescott serves as a liaison to several professional organizations, is a member of the Liaison Committee on Medical Education Council, and leads the AAMC's efforts supporting the National Joining Forces Initiative. Prior to joining the AAMC in 2008, Dr. Prescott served as Dean of the West Virginia University School of Medicine for 4 years. He has also served as President and CEO of WVU's Integrated Multi-Specialty Faculty Practice Plan, founding chair of WVU's Department of Emergency Medicine, and is the first director of the WVU Center for Rural Emergency Medicine. Before WVU, he was a military physician in the Army for 8 years. Dr. Prescott earned his medical and his bachelor's degrees from Georgetown University and is the recipient of several awards and 2 honorary degrees. I have been fortunate to come to know John personally through his counsel and guidance for me as a neophyte dean. He is a wonderful and thoughtful person with a breadth of experience. So much so that Sharon asked me on the way home last evening from dinner, how does he do all of that? All I can tell her is that I don't know, but he really does it well. John is now going to provide our keynote address from a bit of a unique perspective, as one of his 3 talented daughters is a first-year medical student at Georgetown School of Medicine. My friend, John Prescott.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation to visit your school and to participate in this wonderful celebration. I've had a great time getting to know the community that makes up this unique School of Medicine, meeting its faculty and its students, walking through its impressive campus, and once again enjoying the hospitality of Greenville, South Carolina. There is something special in the air in Greenville, South Carolina, and at this medical school and this health system. And I can tell you that it is truly unique. I get to travel across the nation. I've visited over 40 medical schools to date, and I can tell you, I have never experienced anything quite like what's going on here. So congratulate yourselves for getting here, for making it happen, for having people like Andrew as a class president. You guys did a great job picking him. And I'll tell you, and Dr. Taylor, your comments, that this is just a unique situation. And I cannot tell you how rare it is to see a hospital system working as closely with the medical school, working closely with the university, and many universities, and a community to make it all happen, to improve the health of this part of the state and this part of the nation. You guys ought to give yourselves a great big round of applause. Go ahead and do it. You are it's unique. Centuries ago, academic institutions learned the value of periodically recognizing critical educational events with ceremonial remembrances. The White Coat Ceremony is a milestone event for a medical school, its students, and its faculty. And that's why I made the trip to be here with you on this very important occasion, to join in the celebration of what is best in academic medicine and to recognize a significant moment in the professional careers of the class of 2018. Now, several months ago, Dean Yuki called and asked if I would serve as speaker today. Once I accepted his invitation, he gave me 2 very specific instructions. First, make it meaningful to the students, families, and faculty gathered here today. Second, keep it focused. Now, that's Dean talk for make sure you stay on time. Well, I must tell you that I've done my absolute best at trying to meet both of these guidelines. So today, I'd like to talk a bit about the White Coat Ceremony itself, and offer some practical advice to the students on how to best ensure a good fit with your white coat. Before I begin, I want to say something to all the medical students here. I envy you. I envy you. I envy the fact that you're young, that you're full of energy, ambition, and compassion, and most of all, that you're entering what many are calling what I truly believe is the golden age of medicine. Now, I'm sure there are those in the audience who would challenge my assertion. In fact, I recall hearing some 30 years ago from some of my own faculty that medicine as a profession was on a decline, and that my class had missed the golden age. Well, I didn't believe that rhetoric then, and I don't believe it now. The reality is, number one, medicine is in transition, and always has been. 2, change comes hard for some physicians, faculty in particular, even when it's based on best scientific information. 3, physicians have always complained. I don't doubt for a moment that there were physicians lamenting the passage of the golden age of bloodletting or purging. And 4, many of the naysayers, most of whom are concentrated in Washington, D.C., make their living tearing down a profession that they've never practiced and barely understand. Medicine is changing in so many positive ways. We know more about the causes and treatments of diseases and injuries than any time in the past. Care is becoming more personalized and impactful. We're beginning to harness the benefits of the information technology in increasingly insightful ways. and the profession still attracts the best and the brightest to dedicate their lives to the service of others. Caring physicians acknowledge that there are some serious challenges, including some very close to home. The high cost of medical care and the high cost of medical education can serve as barriers for many. Healthcare inequities exist in a system that can often seem fragmented to even experienced clinicians. In academic medicine, we need to address the ever-lengthening time it takes to educate a physician, how to best prepare students to work in interdisciplinary teams, and how to best address the information overload. And the emergence of exotic diseases, deadly diseases such as Ebola, are no longer isolated threats. Yet challenges have always existed in medicine. And you heard Andrew say this before. It's going to be up to the class of 2018, those here today and the 20,000 of you who make up the class of 2018 across this nation to recognize and meet these challenges head on. Now, physicians over the millennia have always stepped up, utilizing the tools and educational resources available to them, and they have created solutions to vexing problems. You and your classmates must embrace this opportunity to make an impact, utilizing the knowledge, skills, and resources at your disposal. And step up you will, and lead the profession into a new age. So what is it about the white coat that makes it part of an important recognition event in the life of a medical student? Isn't this celebration a bit anachronistic in 2014? On the surface, the white coat seems so dated. The white coat doesn't allow you to email, text, tweet, or Snapchat. You can't listen to music, take photos, get directions, or map your run with it. It doesn't allow you to download apps, edit your contacts, set an alarm, or let you watch one more cute kitten video. But the white coat has a lot going for it. Some would say its simple design makes it elegant. It basically only comes in two styles, long and short. It doesn't need a charger. It has pockets. And by definition, it comes in only one color, and that color communicates a universal message of caring. It lacks an internal compass, yet wearing it consistently points its owner in the right direction. And while it may not lend much to the science of medicine, it's certainly invaluable to the art of medicine. Over the past century, the white coat has become synonymous with the profession of medicine and the caring, compassionate, and skilled and altruistic clinical physician. And that's why my white coat is important to me. And every time I have moved from one academic position to another, it is literally the last thing I take from my office, my old office, and it's the very first thing I hang up in my new space. And especially now, as my position requires me to focus on administrative and academic issues on the national level, I never want to forget or lose that critical link to clinical medicine and the importance of the white coat. Now, despite the symbolic importance of the white coat ceremony, as you've heard before, is relatively new in the history of medicine. There was no white coat, like Dr. Taylor said, no white coat ceremony back from when I graduated medical school in 1981. My understanding is that it started at Columbia University in 1993. It was an idea of Dr. Arnold Gold and his wife, Sandra, who set out to nurture and preserve the tradition of the caring physician. Nurture and preserve the tradition of the caring physician. He and some colleagues had noted that while medical students and residents of the day were scientifically proficient and technically well-trained, they often lacked the essential attributes of a caring and compassionate physician. Thus, he sought to emphasize humanism by recommending ceremonies that celebrated its importance. Now, Dr. Gold actively promoted the concept of humanistic physician and says that that physician would demonstrate 7 qualities that he summed up with a mnemonic. Now, medical students know physicians love mnemonics, okay? And his mnemonic was I.E. cares. I.E. cares. I for integrity, E for excellence, C for compassion, A for altruism, R for respect, E for empathy, and S for service. At the medical school level, the White Coat Ceremony recognizes the school's commitment to humanism in medical education, and its celebration often coincides with students having increased clinical responsibilities. As part of this effort, the GOLD Foundation, a foundation that Arnold and Sandra set up, suggests that schools establish clear expectations and standards regarding humanism early in the educational process. And it also recommends that methods be put into place to identify and reward and promote exemplary role models for both the faculty and the students. And you'll have an opportunity to do this throughout your academic career. So there are tangible examples of the academic institution's commitment to create a positive learning environment, something very strongly endorsed by the AAMC where I work and others because of its ultimate impact on defining the patient care environment. So a good learning environment really sets the tone for a wonderful patient care environment. Students who learn in a caring environment where respect for all is a defining characteristic become better physicians and demonstrate this value throughout their professional careers. So what started with one medical school has spread to 97% of all the medical schools in the US and Canada. Andrew and Sandra Gold are real people. I know them. And they are real-life examples of the impact that committed individuals can have on the lives of many. So now you know about the white coat, you know about the White Coat Ceremony. Let's talk about how to ensure that the white coat is a good fit. And I'm directing these comments particularly to these individuals right in front of me. Being a medical student and becoming a physician will present you with some of the most challenging and rewarding moments in your life. An early challenge is that you're going to be given huge quantities of information that no human being can totally absorb. Realizing that there is more to learn than there is time to learn it is an early and very important lesson. Recognizing this fact is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it's an appreciation of reality. All medical students learn to ride the wave of the data deluge, and you will too. Key will be the ability to process data into useful information, and it's important for you and your classmates not to be discouraged when things are not going easy. Over the past several weeks, you've come to realize that medical school is full of demanding work, so take the opportunity to reach out to others when they need your assistance, and let them assist you when things are particularly challenging for you. Now, it's going to sound a little bit like Andrew and I wrote this together, our comments, but we actually didn't. But it's great to hear his perspective and perhaps listen to mine. This is the first lifelong lesson in professionalism, being there for each other, no matter what the situation is or the challenge that arises. Along the way, you are going to make friends, individuals you become bonded to because of the unique experiences you will face together, and many of these individuals will become your friends for life. I met my wife the first day of medical school, and 35 years later, I still say we're friends for life. You're going to be going to experience great joy when you learn about completely new things in science and medicine, particularly when you interact with patients. And it's not going to be long before someone calls you doctor. I watched with parental amusement and happiness when my father-in-law recently referred to my daughter, Amy, as Doc in front of the family. It was the first time this ever happened. She's a first-year medical student at Georgetown, and she had just received her white coat. I know she felt the pride in this familial recognition. Earn the title of doctor by always listening to the patient, carefully demonstrating respect, and by being compassionate. Your gold standard will soon become, am I treating this patient the way that I want my family to be treated? Now, there are going to be many, many unanticipated learning opportunities for you. These come courtesy of the white coat. So whatever and wherever they occur, take advantage of them. When you stumble, and you are going to stumble, we all stumble. When you stumble, figure out what happened, accept it, and most importantly, learn from it. You will remember best what you teach others, so seek out those opportunities to assist others to understand what you have learned. Speaking of teachers, you will meet many wonderful individuals throughout your education. Think about what made that physician, that nurse, that staff member so impactful, and try to add that quality and technique to your own repertoire. Now, unfortunately, you're also going to come across others who will provide negative examples, but you can learn from them also. Saying to yourself, I will never, ever treat a patient, student, or colleague like that will also help you to define you as a caring physician, one worthy of the white coat. Now, I do have a couple of recommendations that border on absolutes that I want to pass along to you because they're so critically important. The first deals with integrity. No value is more important to a physician than integrity. Patients and colleagues must be able to trust you always. And you must be able to trust other physicians always. So therefore, always live a life full of integrity. And the second absolute deals with humility and its opposite, arrogance. Over time, many physicians begin to think and act as if they are somewhat special, above their colleagues, nurses, and certainly their patients. They forget that it is truly a privilege to serve the suffering. And to serve the suffering is the motto of the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Society for medical students. Now, I would not be honest to you if I didn't tell you that over my 30-plus years that I've been in medicine, I've had to catch myself from going down the arrogant pathway. And for the moms and dads out there, actually it was my mother who called me on it, my worst transgression. Parents and spouses, as Andrew said, you've got an important role to remember to keep an eye on us, to make us remember who we are and what we're doing, because sometimes we might go off that path. It's also an unfortunate fact that too many physicians have huge egos, and something that we must avoid. Rather, be appropriately confident in your abilities. Share or give credit to colleagues for their contributions, and accept responsibility for when things don't work out as you had them planned. Physicians who are worthy to wear the white coat listen to their patients. You should know that careful listening will often provide the insights into what is really concerning to a patient. When your patients believe you're listening, they will confide in you more and have greater faith in your recommendations and treatments. Set the stage by always addressing them respectfully and looking them in the eye when you introduce yourself. And these simple steps are the basis for a trusting relationship. Now, the last point regarding fit has to do with the little voice that will help guide you throughout your career. All experienced physicians will tell you that as you gain experience and insight, you begin to hear an inner voice that often provides direction and warnings. Now, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to hear this as you put on your white coat. But with time, the voice will find its way into your subconscious and help provide guidance along the way. Now, you're going to recognize the voice when it tells you that despite what the labs say, all the labs are perfect, this patient's sick. Or, I know that I'm pretty sure these drugs don't interact, but I'm going to go ahead and check it. Or maybe my colleague said, you don't have to worry about that part of the history, I already checked it out. But you go one step further because you think that might be important for the care of the patient. Physicians ignore the little voice at their own peril. Now, simply wearing a white coat doesn't guarantee you'll always hear the voice. You will have to be willing and ready to listen and be prepared to take the extra step for your patient. Work hard over the next 4 years and stop to appreciate the joys and mysteries of life. You're going to be a better physician because of this. And if you have a discipline, students, if you have the discipline, keep a journal of what you've experienced and how you feel. Even if you never share your notes, your reflection will provide you with better insights into the world around you. When I take off some time from work, I enjoy watching movies. And particularly, I enjoy watching movies with Tom Hanks. Now, maybe it's because of my age. He's the same age I am. I think maybe it's because he's kind of the everyman of Hollywood. He portrays all these different characters. And if we can all remember his career, he's had this career for many, many years, playing all sorts of characters. But I think more than anything, it's because of these variety of roles. And in these roles, he offers a lot of advice that seem to be directed to medical students when they receive their white coats. You might be saying, really? But he does. Who would have doubted his insight when he shouted, "It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everybody would do it. The hard is what makes it great." That's Jimmy Dugan in A League of Their Own. Or how about his advice as Woody to aspiring physicians. Reach for the sky. And what about, there's so many applicable quotes from Forrest Gump, with two of my favorites being, Mama always said, dying was a part of life. I sure wish it wasn't. And this is true. Any physician will tell you this. And some people don't think miracles happen. Well, they do. And I hope many of you recall the most memorable line of the movie Saving Private Ryan. When, after leaving a squad of soldiers to rescue one man from behind enemy lines, mortally wounded Tom Hanks, playing Captain John Miller, pulls a young Matt Damon close to him and whispers, "Earn this. Earn this," he says again. And what he was telling Ryan, it is up to him to earn this special opportunity that he has given him at great cost, the cost of his life and the life of many of his men in his squad. Graduates of 2018, your faculty has chosen you to enter medical school, and in just a few minutes you'll don your white coats for the first time. And to be quite frank, despite your wonderful grades, your MCAT scores, and impressive applications, the admissions committee was not looking to the past when they admitted you. They were looking to the future. In what has to be the most incredible application of pay it forward concept, you are being formally recognized as members of the profession of medicine. You were chosen because you've demonstrated the ability to excel both in the academic setting and equally as important in your community. And you have confirmed to many that you have the potential for meaningful impact in all phases of your life. Now, through your actions and decisions, you must demonstrate the selfless spirit that defines the profession through your own actions. So I say to you, earn the white coat. Earn it every day of your medical career. Earn it by following the IE Cares mnemonic. Again, integrity, excellence, compassion, altruism, respect, empathy, and service. Do that, and your white coat will be a great fit forever. I wish you all the best and much success in the future. Thank you.
John, thank you for those insightful and inspiring words. From the perspective you say them is truly unique, and we're very glad you were here to join us today. It's now my pleasure to bring to the podium Dr. Paul Catalana, our Assistant Dean for Admissions. Our admissions process involves lots of people, large admissions committee, lots of standards, bringing this unique group of very talented individuals together. But of all the people involved in it, the one individual that has the most to do with how it all gets together is Dr. Catalana, and for that, because that's always the beginning, we're all grateful. Paul?
Well, thank you, Dr. Yuki. And what we'll see now is the students will begin to make their way over to the back of the stage. And as they do so, just a couple of reminders, please. As has been said a couple of times already, this is an important time for our students and also for all of you as family members. So we would ask that until the ceremony is complete, that you refrain from clapping. And I promise you there'll be time left to give these students a round of applause that they deserve. So be sure that you reserve that until after the ceremony. Also, there's a professional photographer here. And so during this part of the ceremony, he will be taking pictures of each student as he or she meets with Dr. Yuki. So please also refrain from flash photography during this time. There have been several comments about admissions, and I want to add this. As a father of 4 children, I will say none of whom are in medical school. I'm not sure what that says about me. But I know, however, through my experiences with my children, how proud each and every one of you are here today. And I'll also say this, that each of you know how hardworking, bright, and intelligent your loved ones are. But I was struck by Andrew's comments, I was struck by Dr. Prescott's comments, that not once did we hear or were we reminded of just how bright, intelligent, and hardworking each of these students are. But quite frankly, that's not why they were admitted. I jokingly say to each of them when they meet with us prior to their interviews, raise your hands if you know your doctor's grade point average or his or her MCAT score. And of course, none of them raise their hands because none of us know that about our physicians. But what we do know about our physicians is whether or not they're compassionate. We know whether they're good listeners. We know whether or not they will make us feel embarrassed when we're confused or when we're scared. And most of all, we know about their listening skills, their compassion, and their interpersonal skills. That's why your loved ones are here, because they have demonstrated compassion for their future patients. They've demonstrated compassion for their colleagues. And each and every one of you should be so very proud of the type of physicians that they will be. So I think we will go ahead and get started if we can. And so we'll start off, first of all, with Kendall Abbas. Alyssa Adkins. Kenzie Alexander. Bobby Barinello. Leanne Black. Joey Blackwell. Ethan Brown. Andrew Burr. Emily Campalong. Stefano Pardine Poza. Jeff Chilcote. Kelsey Condon. Krupesh Dave. Raquel Dennis. Grace Denton. Phillips DeRitter. Catherine Entricken. David Arazo. Brian Fazone. Alicia Firestone. Timothy Fletcher. Megan Fredwall. Jordan Gainey. Anne Marie Gerstner. Kaylee Goodman. Mike Grenade. Scott Griffin. T. Griscom. Wes Hargrove. Harry Hicklin. Cody Hill. Michael Hood. Megan Hudak. Stephen Hudson. Alisa Hulon. Callie Hutzinger. Sven Ivankovich. Megan Jackson. Laura Beth Job. Erica Johnson. Brian Jones. Matthew Kerr. Hannah Klein. Jen Cotrady. Brittany Lamont. Alex Lee. Andrew Lee. William Lytle. Katrina Morgan. Gabrielle Morris. Wes Parker. Schuler Polk. Ben Ramsey. Natalia Rencone. Sarah Roberts. Julia Robinson. Greg Roop. Jervy Roper. Taylor Rozier. Aaron Shepard. Hannah Shirley. Elvira Schroeder. Hannah Shull. Jasmine Smith. Noah Smith. Janet Snipes. Crystal Sosa. Mark Spencer. Hope Sprunger. Clay Stafford. Bianca Stewart. Shane Sundley. Andrew Schwartz. Nate Teague. Mary Van Wert. Taylor Whoopshot. Shannon Wentworth. Whitney Wheeler. Jeremiah White. Jessica Williams. Bailey Wooten. Sarah Yee. So now, join me in congratulating the class of 2018.
What a great group of young professionals. Congratulations to all of you. Here the students write their own oath. You'll find it actually in your programs. So I'd ask the class of 2018 to stand. In recognition of the great responsibility that accompanies the practice of medicine, the University of South Carolina School of Medicine Greenville class of 2018 wholeheartedly pledges to uphold the following principles. Andrew, you want to start? Terrific. Be seated, please. So it's my privilege to provide the closing remarks, and frankly, what I would simply like to do is thank all of you. I'd particularly like to thank Dr. John Prescott for joining us for this occasion today. I'd like to thank the board members who are present in the audience. I know I saw Margaret Jenkins and Billy Williams, and so thank you for being here. Many others that I didn't see, we really appreciate it. I certainly want to thank Class President Burr and the entire class of 2018. You're going to be a remarkable group of physicians. As John said, earn it. A particular thanks to our student musicians. The people who are playing the music for you are actually students of USC School of Medicine Greenville. The days have certainly changed from when I was a medical student. I'm not sure I could tie my shoes, much less play a musical instrument. They're a really talented group of individuals. Thank the Platform Party, certainly my cabinet, the faculty, and the staff of USC School of Medicine Greenville. And a special thanks to the Student Affairs staff, Maggie, Amanda, Lacey, and Lucy, who are the ones, along with Sandy, that get this all together. And finally, I'd like to thank all of you who are here today for this special occasion. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. My appreciation to Furman University for arranging our use of McAllister Auditorium. And so it's been a terrific event. I would invite all of you to join us for a reception out in the lobby following this. I'd ask the audience to remain seated while the students in the Platform Party exits, and then there'll be refreshments outside. Thank you very much.